When I was a kid, Shrek was just a fun, goofy movie about an ogre who needed a skincare routine. But watching it as an adult is a whole different experience. Suddenly, the jokes feel sharper, the characters feel broken, and Lord Farquaad feels like a dictator who shops at Baby Gap. Somewhere between the gingerbread torture and the fascist Disneyland, I realized something. This movie wasn't family friendly. This movie was a cry for help wrapped in animation. Right from the start, you meet Lord Farquaad, and even as a kid, something about that name felt suspicious. Turns out, it wasn't just suspicious, it was basically an insult. Farquaad is a phonetic dodge for Farquaad, which is a British American slang mashup meaning an obnoxious idiot who thinks they're important. So, the villain of a kids' movie is literally named Lord Jackass. DreamWorks didn't even hide it. They highlighted it in neon, slapped a crown on it, and gave him a castle. And speaking of castles, the moment you see Duloc, you realize something's off. It looks like Disneyland if Walt Disney ran it like North Korea. Everything's clean, everything's organized, everyone smiles like they're being held hostage, because they basically are. Even the Welcome to Duloc jingle ends with a cheerful wipe your face, pausing just long enough to let every adult mentally finish the sentence with as.
Please keep up on the grass, shine your shoes, wipe your face.
That's the charm of Shrek. Half the jokes are coded messages to the adults in the room who did not sign up for fascist Mickey Mouse. But the dark humor hits a little harder when you notice what's happening behind the joke. All those fairy tale creatures dumped into Shrek's swamp, that was a forced relocation. Farquaad was literally rounding up everyone who didn't fit his perfect kingdom. Witches, fairies, wolves, talking animals, and throwing them into the forest to fend for themselves. This kids' movie casually opens with political oppression and ethnic cleansing, but covers it with a cute wooden puppet screaming for help. And while we're on the subject of torture, Farquaad interrogating the gingerbread man is somehow both hilarious and disturbing. He's ripping off legs, he's dunking him in milk like some sort of pastry waterboarding, and then he leans in and uses the Muffin Man to break his spirit. DreamWorks wrote an interrogation scene so dark that if you replaced Gingy with an actual human, the movie would immediately jump from PG to "we found this unrestricted government database." But Shrek himself isn't exactly living a fairy tale either. People hate him without meeting him. Kids run away, adults use pitchforks as a greeting card, so he decides to live alone, far from everyone, not because he's mean, but because isolation hurts a little less than rejection. Shrek wasn't emotionally distant, he was socially traumatized. And then Donkey walks in like free therapy wearing hooves. And while Donkey is dragging Shrek through an emotional makeover, Fiona's dealing with her own identity crisis. She hides her ogre form like it's some kind of embarrassing medical condition. She literally thinks that no one could love her unless she's in her day mode, which deep down is a giant metaphor for body image anxiety. Her whole life is shaped around the belief that her real self is unacceptable. It's funny and it's heartbreaking, and it's exactly the kind of emotional whiplash Shrek specializes in. Even the supporting characters come with dark storytelling baked in. Dragon isn't just a monster. She's a lonely prisoner chained to a tower used as a guard dog. Donkey doesn't just romance her, he basically frees her from decades of isolation. Is it weird that they had kids? Absolutely. And is it even weirder that DreamWorks just rolled with it? Absolutely. But that's the kind of the point. Shrek mocks the idea that love needs to follow any normal pattern. Normal is boring. Normal is Farquaad. And then there's the Robin Hood scene, Fiona's big moment. Robin Hood jumps in, calls her a saucy little maid, and starts singing like he's auditioning for medieval TikTok, and she beats the absolute life out of him and his men. DreamWorks said, What if we took every sexist fairy tale cliche and let the Princess Roundhouse kick it? That's not humor, that's therapy. But all of this, the dictatorship, the torture, the body image metaphors, the emotional trauma, it all builds to one core idea. Shrek isn't making fun of fairy tales, it's exposing them. It flips everything upside down. The villain is handsome and clean. The heroes are monsters. The princess is cursed for being herself. And the final message is actually darkly brilliant. The real villain isn't a dragon or a curse. It's society's obsession with perfection. The idea that you have to be beautiful, polite, and normal to deserve love. Which is why Shrek's ending hits harder as an adult. It's not happily ever after. It's happily as we are. Flaws, swamp, ogre face, and all. And honestly, that's darker, deeper, and more real than half the movies that claim to be serious.